Sometimes, when I make a great effort, I can remember her scent, the sweetness of her breath. Serena.
Okay. I'm going to play a new game called Serena. A point and click adventure.
Her photo is right there.
Okay.
Maybe I could have another look.
Where is that? What?
Serena? Why can't I see you more clearly? Why can't I even remember?
Okay. So,
This was taken on that crisp winter night at our mutual friend's hunting lodge. We came back indoors laughing, giddy as teenagers. It was truly like an enchanted time, like we were in a magic circle where no sorrow or pain could touch us.
okay.
My love,
Oh, so sad.
we don't have a lot of photos of ourselves as a couple, so this one is quite important. The guy who snapped this, our host that night, used an actual film camera.
Old school.
It was a different world back then. My love,
Okay.
we don't have a lot of photos of ourselves as a couple, so
Oh.
this one is quite important.
You always put too much salt in, dear. Think about your pressure.
Serena enjoyed spice in our life. I preferred it more bland. We were so different on some points. The furniture came with the cabin. Considering how off the beaten path this place is, that helped make up our mind.
Okay, so what now?
Sometimes she would brush her leg against mine under the table when we were eating. A curious, sensual thrill. The table is worn but sturdy, just like our relationship was. Or is. I just don't know anymore. This one wobbles. I always meant to do something about that, but somehow never got around to it.
So what now? Out. Okay, book.
So much wisdom and happiness in this bookcase. My life would have been much poorer without all this. The smell of old books is intoxicating. What happens to wood pulp as it ages gives it that distinctive vanilla smell.
Oh, I love it.
I loved it when we took down one of my favorites and curled up on the bed to read together as the wind howled outside on cold winter nights. Most of the books are mine, but all of hers are still here too.
That's it.
A lot of rarities and special editions here.
Okay,
I
next.
didn't lend out my Necronomicon, did I? No,
Oh, you have.
of course not. Most of the books are mine, but all of hers are a lot of rarities and special editions here. I
What
didn't
is-
lend out my Necronomicon, did I?
Back.
No, of course not. So many afternoons spent in this armchair.
What's that? Oh, creepy. Nothing.
Sharing meals with a good red wine was one of the great pleasures in our relationship, especially in the intimacy of this cabin.
Oh, what now?
I should probably eat. Can't remember the last time I ate, yet I don't feel hungry. Our dining table, quite modest, but if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I could tell plenty of stories about this table. To be honest, I'm surprised it's still in one piece.
You don't know what to do?
This window never got much attention. Then again, the view isn't nearly as spectacular. Priorities, right?
Nope, back again.
Come sit with me. I want to talk. And cuddle.
What did we talk about? Damn this fallible memory of mine.
Okay. It's somehow Wait. What's this? Come, love, with peace in your heart.
Come, love, with peace in your heart, said Niamh of the ice blue eyes. Blue eyes.
So what with blue eyes?
It's based on an Irish folktale. Warrior poet O'Sheen goes to Tirnanog, a Celtic otherworld known as the Land of Youth and Promise.
Okay.
Niamh is of the Fey folk, the fair ones, fairies.
Fairies.
Weird mix of doggerel and artistry. The elemental imagery is evocative, but the language and structure are a bit quaint. Still, some lines jump out at you. I've always been drawn to things that are kind of both good and bad at the same time. Maybe because that's so like life. My grandma introduced me to these old legends when I was just a kid, in between stories of what she could still remember of her childhood in the old country.
Okay.
Weird mix of doggerel and artistry. The elemental imagery. I've always been drawn to things that are kind of both good and bad at the same time. She made this with her own hands. She was really good.
Okay, let's check one here.
Something draws me to this trunk. Is it the memories locked within? Or something else? We use this trunk to store trinkets and papers, but I can't help thinking there's something of importance inside. It's too painful. I want to, but not yet. We found this trunk at a flea market. We used to love rummaging around those in our early years. Big enough for a lifetime of mementos. We hated guns, so we never had any, even out here. But this would have been a good place to keep one, since it can be locked. We found this trunk at a flea market. We used to love rummaging around those in our early years. Our refuge from the world. A place of warmth and passion. Sometimes we joked we needed to be so far out in the woods because that's how our sex life was. Far out.
Okay.
The furniture came with the cabin, but the bedclothes we brought with us. A place like this needs some luxury, but without her, there are no monsters under the bed. I guess they're all in my head.
Look what I made, hun, in case we ever need to sweep something under the carpet.
Oh.
See the pattern of yellow squares? It's from this rug I remembered from my nursery. I must have been like 3 or 4, but it always stuck with me.
And no trap door under there, just more creaky floor. I always resisted the temptation to sweep things under there when it was my turn to tidy up.
The rug's all crooked again. Can you help me straighten it out?
And no trap door under there, just more creaky floor. I feel too restless to sleep right now. I don't sleep well without Serena next to me. Both a blessing and a curse, I suppose. There are no monsters under the bed. I guess they're all in my head. Quite a large armoire for our admittedly Spartan needs. She uses most of it. We all have our skeletons in the closet, but not Serena. She was perfect.
Oh. Nothing.
I'm not sure why, but I don't feel like opening it. The sole thought of it drains what little energy I have left in me. Maybe later. There's nothing of interest inside the closet anyway. I'm a casual dresser. No need to change clothes right now. Don't think Serena would approve of me making an even bigger mess of the clothes in here. Maybe later. There's nothing of interest inside the closet anyway. For some reason, light bulbs wouldn't last long in this lamp. I never looked into it.
Low quality
2
lamp.
days, 3 days tops, and bam, a brand new light bulb would burn out. Whenever her lamp didn't work, Serena would come by my side to read. A few moments later, she would lay her head down on my chest and fall asleep.
Oh, romantic.
The only reason this lampshade gathered less dust than the other one was that we had to keep putting new bulbs in this one. Because of a wiring problem or whatever, this one always starts smelling sharply of metal after being on for a while. Considering what a strong odor of metal this one gives off when in use, I guess we were lucky never to have an accident. The only reason this lampshade gathered less dust than the other one was that we had to keep putting new bulbs in this one. She adored all things of nature. I remember her long walks out in the woods. Curiously, we never brought many plants inside the cabin. We were surrounded by so many outside, and I guess we were saturated by them. At least I was. Maybe I should have let her bring some plants inside. She liked them a lot.
Yes. Women love flowers.
A plant is a plant. Beautiful to some, boring to others. They say these things are alive. If they are, it must be a horrible existence, confined in their own silent, dark world.
Okay.
We have much more interesting things than this plant inside the cabin. Like my books. A plant is a plant. Beautiful to
Let's
some,
see this Bible.
or she's fairly religious. Not me. I'm the cold and cynical bastard. But I don't
Okay.
remember that ever being an issue between us. She always thought our relationship was a blessing. God, how I miss her. No longer the cynical asshole, I guess. Her faith came as a surprise to me. She was never prudish about sex, so I just didn't expect it. I guess people simply aren't that predictable. No,
Okay.
I don't want to read right now. Especially not a Bible. I have no need for the words in there. I don't feel like being admonished by a deity right now.
Back. So we go. Let's set.
It's a beautiful day, though there's an unnatural calm surrounding the area. I've always loved the hazy afternoon shades of this place. It's deep
Okay.
into summer, so there's a few hours left until it gets dark. The sunlight is so bright here. In other circumstances, this would have been the perfect afternoon for us. There's a crack in this window from a tantrum she threw some time
Oh.
ago. It wasn't the only thing she threw. Not exactly perfect soundproofing.
Okay.
The sunlight can be confusing, oppressive, as if pregnant with some ill omen. Or is the stress finally catching up with me? The sunlight is so bright here. In other
Okay.
circumstances, this would have been the perfect afternoon for us.
What
They
is-
prevent my blood pressure from skyrocketing. Doctor's orders. And Serena's.
Oh, you have high blood pressure.
I'm generally not fond of taking medication. I find it hard to believe ingesting a few chemicals will do me much good in the long run.
Don't forget your pill, hun. I know you'd rather not, but you know it's for the best.
Beta blockers. I have high blood pressure.
Yes.
I'm only supposed to take these before meals. Not a big fan of them. They do tend to alleviate my headaches, though. Beta blockers. I have high blood pressure.
What's this one?
These keys are for the cabin and the car.
Can I take it?
If the keys are here, does she have her spare? I should probably stay here in case she doesn't. Did she even have her own spare?
Mystery.
We also have a key for the outhouse, but can't be bothered to keep it anywhere other than under that rock next to the thing. No one comes here anyway. We did have a night prowler once who left a mark inside the outhouse, but we rarely lock it anyway. I never noticed it before, but there's some rust on the ring. Should get a new one. We also have a key for the outhouse, but can't be bothered to keep it anywhere other than under that rock next to the thing. No commune évidence. Serena's favorite perfume. I've always told Serena that she doesn't need to wear perfume. Her presence is magical enough already. It smells so elegant. There's violet leaf and silk tree blossom, I think. This perfume is perfect for Serena. Why didn't I ever notice? We were happy for a long time. At least, I think we were. But as time passed, we fought about every little
Oh.
thing, even this.
Okay.
I keep looking at her things, remembering all the good and bad. Depends on how you look at it. Either a wonderful sensory stimulant, an aphrodisiac, or a subtle weapon in the mating rituals of Homo sapiens. We were happy for a long time, at least hers. I used it too, when shaving.
Okay.
There's only an outhouse, and for some reason, whoever erected the rickety thing didn't think to include wall-to-wall mirrors, so this came in handy.
What's that?
Should I dust for fingerprints? I might if I were in a detective story. After all these years, it permanently smells of her and her perfume.
Oh, it's
The last thing I need now is to see myself in the mirror. I must look awful. There's dust on this, too. It's everywhere. After all these years,
okay. This
there's a strand of blonde hair in the comb.
Serena's.
Yes, blonde hair like sun rays. I'm remembering.
Okay.
What's wrong with my memory? Did I have a stroke?
Maybe. Oh, that scares me.
She also had a brush, but I can't see it anywhere. Nor some of her other personal items. It's just a regular comb bought from a supermarket, new enough to still have all its teeth.
Oh, okay. That could be. No. Oh, watch. Cannot take money.
Dearest, how do I say any of this? I like your way with words, but if I don't write this, I don't know what I'll do. My life feels so unreal now, dreamlike, but wonderfully so. Let me try, even if clumsily. The hours I spent with you when we last met are precious to me. I was so lost such a short time ago. Everything seemed drained of color and feeling. I think we were meant to find each other, to bring meaning to our lives again, make sense of the confusion shrouding both of us. When we stepped into the crystal silence of the snowy woods, away from the chatter of the guests, all nature seemed expectant, as if holding its breath, witnessing a rare moment of something infinitely better than what life in the ordinary run of things has to offer. Do you remember how the light crust of the snow glittered in the reflected light of the country house? How the copse of trees in which we walked was haloed with a magical aura? I felt the chill of the night air, and you opened your coat and enfolded me in your arms, and we hugged tight, sharing the warmth, sharing the only thing any of us have to share on this earth when you think about it.
Okay. Done there. Let's go back.
It's been so long since I said her name out loud. I think that's the moment I fell in love with her, when she told me the soothing sound of her name.
Okay. No, nothing. Whoa.
We used to keep a pitcher of water and a glass on this nightstand, but they're not here now.
Okay.
There's a thick layer of dust and an almost invisible outline where we kept the water pitcher. Unlike its sibling, this lamp would last for months.
Oh, good one.
We brought the lamps with us when we got this place all those years ago. They were from a garage sale. The sun is streaming through the window. No reason to turn this on. All these metaphors and similes in my head. Light of my life. Make light. Wait, that's another kind of light. A lamp is a lamp, but to a writer, every mundane item triggers connections, and that leads to more. It seemed like neither of us could bother to properly wipe the lampshades. All these metaphors and similes. The clock is a trophy from our flea market adventures. Chalk this particular purchase up to every cabin needs one. The ticking begins to feel homey after a while. The first night was a nightmare, though. Time never mattered much to us while we were hiding from the rest of the world here, as long as we were together and happy. The clock has always been rather autonomous. No matter how many times we've wound it up, it keeps going out of sync. Actually, I think it might have gone out of sync again. No trusting this clock. I wonder what time it is. As if it mattered. The clock has always been rather autonomous. No matter how many times we've wound it up, it keeps going out of sync.
Okay. Think that's all for today's episode. Tune in tomorrow for another episode of Serena. And I still don't know what type of game is this. So thank you for watching. BoxHead out.